Video gamers, sports fans, and nostalgia enthusiasts, are you ready for a time warp? Time Warp is a brick-and-mortar hobby shop with a huge selection of everything sports, gaming, and collectibles in downtown Ashland and 2 locations in the Ashland Town Center. They've got vintage toys, sports cards, and collectibles, tons of wrestling merch. It's the largest selection of memorabilia in the tri-state. Time Warp also has an extensive inventory of vintage and current video games and consoles. It's a 100% must-visit for retro gamers. Time Warp buys your collectibles daily and are open 7 days a week, 363 days a year. Only closed on Christmas and Thanksgiving. Check out their Facebook page at Time Warp Ashland. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Bell to Bell with Bobby Blaze. I am your host, Professor Jeremy Vilmur, and joining us now, Arn Anderson's favorite enhancement talent, Double B, Bobby Blaze.
Hey, Jeremy, the professor. I'm just over here being Mary Ann, I guess. You know, we're just the others out here on this podcast land. But then one day, you're just a fat man sitting in your underwear recording a podcast. So one day you're Arn's favorite enhancement talent, the next you're just like, where's that next check coming from?
Well, you know, that sitting around in your underwear thing's got to be worth something over on OnlyFans.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to.
Yeah.
Get my OnlyFans going.
That's right.
So that'd be nice, man.
I need to register that website before somebody else does.
You should. You've mentioned it, made reference to it here several times. Yeah, I think get one of them fan pages, just, pale white legs, kind of like Dick Murdoch, that look. Caught on your porch in the wintertime, drink some beer with a couple hot-looking chicks with your shirt off, snowing. Did you see that promo? You know the one I'm referencing?
No, I don't
Dick
think
Murdoch, he sent one in from Colorado to Smoky Mountain. It's fucking snowing, and he's out there with no shirt on drinking some Coors Lighters, and he's got 2 young-looking women sitting on him on a porch with, big house in Colorado somewhere, just drinking beer, cutting a promo.
I'll have to find it then.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Oh, Bobby, I don't think you've been watching it, but I've been catching back up on the NWA here lately.
Okay, yeah.
And I want to preface this. I'm still a big Trevor Murdoch fan.
Yeah.
But guys, be careful how you show your champions, because when I see fucking Trevor Murdoch facing off with Jax Dane and he's gassed just from getting in and out of the ring and throwing a couple elbows, it doesn't look good. And so somebody get him on a treadmill, please. I don't care about him losing weight. Just get his cardio going. Jesus Christ.
Gotcha.
That was the only thing I was like, because I'm a big fan. I like this retro thing they got going.
Yeah,
he looks like a fucking. I mean, he's there with a Dick Slater, Dick Murdoch, Dusty Rhodes. But you can't have him facing down a fucking wall of muscle like fucking Jax Dane, and looking visibly out of breath.
Yeah, gotcha.
It just broke my little heart to see that.
Oh man, what else you been watching? Anything?
You know what? Actually, so Micah was over the other night. We're trying to come. Now, Micah, you and I have talked about this. He used to go and set up the ring. He's a smaller guy. He's a smaller guy. He always wanted to be a wrestler, but the weight thing kind of made him go, So he's been watching a lot of wrestling lately. AEW's is his jam. And he's been listening to our show and Jimmy Cornette's and a bunch of other podcasts he's been listening to. And he's like, I'm kind of thinking, I'm getting up there. Maybe I'll go ahead and call Bobby Hart, who's a local guy here. He's like, and see about getting into some training. And I'm like, yeah, dude, but you're $165 soaking wet. And so that night we were trying to figure out what to watch. I was like, hey, let's grab the first 10 minutes of a GCW show and just see what all this fucking buzz is, right?
Okay.
So we grab GCW. It opens with a 6-man scrum. Okay. First off, Action Mike Jackson was the 6th man.
Okay.
And he fucking whomped the shit out of these kids. He was doing dives and fucking he walked.
Oh shit,
he
man.
walked
That's
all
awesome.
4 ropes, yeah. But as the kids are coming out for this match, they're all like $155, $160. I'm like, yeah. Hey, Micah, if you joined and got in with this company, you'd be like the biggest guy there.
No. There's smaller people, like you said, $150, $165, man. They,
oh yeah, I'm starting to think
if they can learn to work, is all it is. Get trained properly. And then some of these kids out there nowadays don't get trained properly either. They just fucking go out there and flip flop around. I think it's especially, getting trained from the ground up to where you can do all the flying. There's nothing wrong with that. There was a time I didn't, I thought, well, you better be, a 200 pounder at least, how you carry it, you could be 180 and look 205 or 210. That's one thing. But also I like the look of, this might lead to one of your questions later on, but I like a guy to look like a damn man, like no matter how tall or short he is, thick or wide, I want him to at least look like, he can whip someone's ass. That's my thing.
I think that's the main thing, yeah.
That's why I was going to say, like MMA, some of those guys, you just know they're legitimately tough no matter what their weight is, because they look like, you just don't want to fuck with this guy. They do something in battle arts or combat sports or something by the looks of their ears or face or their scar. They're legit people. That's what I like in the wrestling.
Yeah,
if they're smaller.
Mush nose, fucking cauliflower ears.
Yes.
There's something about the build of a guy who's an actual fighter compared to a bodybuilder build,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just that more sinewy fucking, kind of a little more compact build that you can tell, like, that fucker got a hold of you, he'd rip your arm right out of its
exactly. That's what I was getting at. So, but it's more. So speaking of that, let's go right into. You put on there Mick Foley, his little message. I think it's only about a minute 15, minute 30. It says, "We've got a problem." Did you hear that speech by Mick Foley?
I certainly did. I heard it a couple times, and I even listened to your pal X-Pac's show about it just to kind of get a sense of it.
Oh, okay.
And basically, because I just wanted somebody's analysis, but you and I haven't talked about it yet, and that was one of the things I thought, maybe we should, because... And you still say this, even though you and I don't really watch the WWF, except you watch WrestleMania every year. Or, I'm sorry, WWE.
Gotcha.
But, your thing is always, you still tell younger people, go to New York, get your Connecticut, get your thing. But can you still say that to a young person and feel good about it? Look at what they do to younger talent.
Yeah. Well, I guess just recently, and a couple people that's been caught up to the main roster, and they kind of joke about that, or people that go from like Eli Drake, for an example, went from the NWA, and now LA Knight we talked about earlier. I was thinking of him. I would like to see a guy like that jump from another company and go straight to the main roster. You know what I'm saying? Right. But they go to quote developmental or whatever it is, NXT or whatever. Just I don't know. Obviously, they're running a factory, they're a machine, if you will. And even as Foley said, he put them over for taking care of his career like 30 years ago, but now, is that really the place to go? And I'm trying to get to that answer. We talked about this before when we were joking around, before it was AEW. It was a T-shirt company kind of thing. Right. And we said, well, and we've talked about this in the past 20 years, that was the place to go. There wasn't a whole lot of places. But as we did our top tier, we did 13 different companies, I think. There's other places to go. Yeah. And with what AEW, the only thing I don't want AEW falling into the trap of, and I've talked to a couple people about this, is people are thinking they're doing what WCW did years ago. They're just taking whoever gets let go from WWE to their roster. I hope that's not the case, but see, the thing is, at least the guys do have a place to go, and now maybe that is the answer. I want to aspire to go to AEW because they see all this fresh young talent, and they see some of the veterans that are still there. I don't know, man. Like I think Paul even says, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But apparently they're just they let a shitload of talented people go, and hopefully those people find somewhere. I've seen several people posting on Twitter that they're leaving their homes in Florida. They lived there for like 5 years under a developmental deal, in the Orlando area, working at the Performance Center, and got on a couple SmackDowns. They've got a salary. I know there's a minimum on the salaries, but it's enough that you can live okay in Florida, and you're trying to pursue your dream, but then all of a sudden you got to fucking sell your home or move out of your apartment because you can't afford it. I don't know if that's who I don't know if you trust anyone in a fucking wrestling business to begin with, Jeremy.
Well,
but
no, and that's, that's
just
obviously
saying,
a thing. That's
I don't know if New York's the goal. I still think it is, because when we say wrestling, we talked about this. It was you're talking about the WWF or a WWE. They don't know, that's what they know. Mainstream refers to it as. But now, hell, like Mick Foley said, if I was young, aspiring wrestler with talent, saw myself making a living at this or had a future in this business, why not go for set your goals for AEW? How they got TVs, pay-per-views, and a YouTube channel and money backers that's going to be there apparently for a while.
Well, and if they think they got something with you, they're gonna push you. They're gonna let you try to run up front. Whereas the WWE seems to just chew up younger people. Basically, it's that we're going to break you so we can make you kind of thing at the WWE.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's necessary. I mean, like, why the fuck is Samoa Joe at their developmental league, their AAA league?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. For LA Knight, when we mentioned his name off the air there, we both just talking just briefly about Eli Drake. I don't know why you just don't bring that guy over. And he's right there. And I don't understand why he's not on Raw.
Yeah, why would you put?
I do. It's their business plan, but I think he's a big enough star. He could. He can talk. He looks good, and he can work.
Yeah, why would you put Bobby Roode in your?
That was the first time, and I was watching back then. That was the first person I saw when you brought that name up. That was one of the first people I saw that pissed me off. Like, man, how come this guy's not on the main roster? Look, talk, work, everything.
Yeah.
And, but maybe that's where he sees himself too, because he's been there for a while. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know. I'm not talked to him. I don't know him. I want good stuff to continue to happen for him, but man, I can't believe he just didn't go right to the main roster.
Right. I mean,
and stay there.
I'm not going to say they couldn't have a reason. They certainly could. It just seems to me like, you're from a different company. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they recently released that thing. Well, we're not going to hire any more indie wrestlers. We're going to find people with the right look and teach them how to wrestle.
Yeah. I saw that too. So that, to me, that is a problem.
Yeah. So fuck guys with passion. Guys and girls out there who that's what they want to be as a wrestler. They're going to go back to hey, let's go pick Jim Hellwig up off fucking Venice Beach.
Yeah, teach them the wrong way.
Yeah,
maybe
let them fucking potato everybody, and but we got our way. And you want to talk about every match in the WWE looking the same. Everybody's going to come through the exact same training. Nobody's going to pick up anything new. It's homogenized fucking median temperature horse shit.
Yeah, I agree. So I guess we do kind of have to have a problem there. Correspondence with the WWE Communication Department revealed a list of criteria for making the company, but nothing too specific. Some of the expectations are 3 to 5 years of professional wrestling experience or athleticism, size, and charisma if you want to be a star, and 1 to 3 years training at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. Now, this came from an older article, but it's just one of those things where, they kind of give you a guideline what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. And it says, of course, the ability to listen, to learn, and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It's just one of those things where, like you said, it's almost if you come from somewhere else, we're going to break you. You're going to do it our way, and, our way works. But I like the variety when you got different type of athletes and wrestlers and different backgrounds. So you've got a guy coming in. So let's use William Regal, for example, an English guy. You get to see someone like that come in. That's a whole different style when he's working. No matter who he works with, it's going to be a whole different style. I don't know. It's just, to me, it's I want to see the different styles. We're going to be talking about someone today, worked from a territory free, went to New York, Yeah. I like when guys, you had a couple of guys from Memphis that made it to New York, or a couple of guys that you saw, they may have jump ship from the NWA to the WWF or whatever, whatever. But you saw the different styles clashing, and it's like a melting pot instead of like robotic movements, same movements, same, reading or promo or whatever's written for them. They're trying to adapt that instead of just coming out and doing their own promo. Here you are a character. No, they're already a character in themselves, you know what I'm saying, that can cut their own promos. They don't need someone writing for them.
Well, they should be able to cut their own promos. I know that was one of John Moxley's things. He's like, I got to memorize 3 pages of dialogue or monologue written by a 75-year-old man who changed them every half hour till right up before I walked out in front of the camera, and recite shit that he thinks is cool when he has somebody else bringing him clothes to wear,
Well, do you think the AEW, do they seem to have a lot of momentum?
I think they do. Now, is that just bullshit momentum from pickups, or is it like everything kind of coming together? I think it feels to me like it's like things are coming together. That they got a big enough profile that guys with big profiles are looking at them going, you know what, that's a legit place to go. That is somewhere to go.
I'm feeling that way too. I'm feeling like they're getting some momentum.
Yeah.
Like it's really starting to come together for them. Some of the stuff I don't like, and that's okay. I don't have to like everything.
No.
I'm not their fucking market. I get that. But I'm just glad that the boys and girls have a place to go and work at.
Yeah.
And comes back to it gives you, if you don't aspire to be a WWE performer, why not aspire to work for a company that's backed by a fucking billionaire and that has TV and they have other talented people. And like you said, they're willing, if they see something good and it looks like they're trying to do something with people. And they got several options on the shows with them too.
Oh yeah. Now their roster's getting bloated. I do see that as an issue. But one of the things I like is, you go to work there and they basically go like, hey, so what do you want as a theme song? I'll go buy the rights. Just like, no problem. One of the other things that I thought is kind of cool is they're willing to take a risk on some different things. And you can, going back to talking about younger people, look at Jungle Boy. They're setting something up for him in the future.
Yeah.
Now, why they don't call him Jungle Boy Jack Perry, I couldn't fucking tell you, because I would be wringing that fucking cloth out as constantly as I could,
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. I'll let them know who I am.
Yeah, exactly. I'd just be like, oh, hey, you guys have heard of my dad, right?
Exactly. That's what I'd have done, but, hell. Anyway, what's next, man?
Well, I was going to say, I remember when my little brother told me that was Luke Perry's kid. I was like, no way. And I looked at him like, fuck, that's obviously Luke Perry's kid. How did I not fucking see that? I had a question for you. This one's been percolating in my head a little bit. Bobby, we're going to pretend that you somehow become a billionaire. You hit the lottery, you're a billionaire, right?
Yes.
Okay, but you've decided that's way too much money, so now you're going to start a wrestling federation and lose some of that.
That's right, because I just want to be a millionaire, baby.
Just a millionaire, yeah.
Millionaire.
More money, more problems kind of shit. We're going to cut that down.
Yeah.
But as you sit down to work out your roster, the first thing you got to figure out, who do you build your promotion on? And the old thing would be, you pick a baby face and go. Is that still what you would do? Would you head in a different direction? Do heels and baby faces even matter?
See, that's that secondary question. Do heels and baby face even matter? I'm gonna eliminate that question by saying I'm gonna try to make my company old schoolish in a sense that I want a heel and a baby face. Okay. And I don't know necessarily that I'm looking for that baby face right that second. Because I'm thinking in my mind, I want to find me a good heel. Okay, I'm talking about someone like a Terry Funk type heel, because that's my favorite, so I'll drop his name there.
Sure.
So I want someone that's going to be very aggressive, very angry, really wild and crazy, And then I'm going to have, but I want him, of course, to have a worthy opponent. And I see, I'm not going to name names per se. I see a lot of, guys out on the independent circuit and these up and coming guys that are, using Jungle Boy, an example there.
Yeah.
You get a young, good looking guy. Again, I don't know why you just go, hey, this is, Luke Perry's kid, Hollywood, looks about him and let's make him the baby face. And, anyway, I think I would start with, and that way I'd have 2 tag teams, of course, and I'd have about 4 girls, I'd try to have a very mixed show, but I think, I think I start with a heel. Okay. And that baby face, when you start the program, obviously it's not going to be a Hulk Hogan, but you find you find that baby face. And as soon as you start your program, I think that first day or TVs or your first loops that you're running, boom, that baby face get fucked right away. Sure. That establish it.
Yeah.
Boom. We started this new promotion, and the professor Jeremy Vilmur is the babyface champion, and you're out there getting over, and you're over with the girls and the fans, and it's my $1 million. I'm losing my $1 billion, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But you're going to get glommed and fucked, and that title's coming off of you by within a couple of weeks, and then you're chasing it. You're going to chase it around the loop, but you have to have that wild and crazy and just one tough, mean heel. That's the way I would go.
Okay, I could see that.
The big Samoan guy that works for drawing a blank, Jeremy. Sorry, Samoan
MLW?
Works out MLW.
Okay.
Big, tough, legitimate, tough guy.
Yeah.
There's your killer heel right there, Now, he's not going to be your top heel, but I can see potential in that guy, this is not a dig towards anyone in particular, but I don't hire like a Marcus Stunt or someone like that, even though we was talking about people being 165 pounds. I don't hire a fucking 101-pound guy either, because I want someone, and I don't even know I just want someone that looks like they can whip someone's ass, a grown-ass man that looks like he can whip someone's ass. And I don't care if the guy happens to be just a little bit older and more mature, that like Nick Bockwinkel always looked the same, but he looked older.
Yeah.
And he's still wrestling at 51, and he looked like he was 35 when he was 55.
Yeah, exactly.
And still having those fucking kind of matches with a young Kurt Hennig, but he still looked like he'd whip your ass, and he carried himself as the champion. So that's what I would want. But with today's audiences and the market they're going for, I can see them saying, this guy's just too fucking old, and he could be 32 years old.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I'm saying? They want someone, maybe some 25-year-old that's came from another sport or jump ship or whatever. They're going to tear down and build them their way. I don't know, man. I think you start with your top program. I put the heel over. Me and you love heels, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's I'm such a heel that my dog is a Queensland healer. Bobby, I just had a random thought. So, say you were going to do this, and you're going to try to stay semi-regional where you're at. Kind of like a school.
Yeah.
Would it be worthwhile to maybe go find a collegiate wrestler or somebody who was maybe high school, who was big locally 5 years ago, and try to bring them in and build them? What do you think about something like that?
Ooh, I don't see a lot of guys that's wrestled in high school pursue much. I know several that have pursued professional wrestling, but after they've wrestled collegiately, you just don't see that much anymore. Like
yeah, that's why I dropped
you know?
back to high school. I was like,
I know like Chad Collier, a good friend of mine, lives out in Indiana, trained by the Malenkos, and he's fresh in my mind because he's been putting some videos up on Twitter and YouTube. Because he was a collegiate wrestler. That he had to finish his degree. I heard Shane Douglas talking a couple weeks ago, talking about he had to finish his degree. Even though he's going to be a wrestler, his parents had made sure that Dominic Nucci, made sure he finished his degree before he was going to. That was priority over his wrestling training. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But being a collegiate wrestler, is a different thing than being trained while you're in college. So I don't know that you're going to get a lot of college, but I think you do get the guys that do high school or have had some kind of mixed martial arts training. I can see, getting, if they're interested in learning the pro style, absolutely, because they can pick up the pro style so much easier. I love it when an amateur's in a ring because they understand how much pressure to apply, how to handle someone else's. They can handle their own body weight and also handle someone else's body weight. Yeah. I really like that if they've been has some amateur background. It seems to just go so much smoother. I know it helped me a whole lot.
Well, and I think, if I were answering this, over here we've got a bunch of MMA training facilities around this area. Nick Diaz and those guys were trained around here. I think I'd probably go for an MMA guy, or I would try to go for an MMA guy who like maybe was disillusioned but still liked the combat and the technical aspect of it.
Yeah, that sounds good. I like that.
I think maybe I'd try that because, like that match you did with Dan Severn, or those two matches you did with Dan Severn, where you guys kind of leaned on the MMA style. Yeah, were nice looking matches. Now I'm sure there's a way to make them a little more pro friendly, but fucking Dan Severn's not the guy you want working just like a pro wrestling guy. No, those were hard to pull off. It took two complete professionals to do that. And that was on my mind when you were saying that. That's actually what come to mind. I appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah. It's that's why I was getting at the amateur background certainly helps, And I got some very extensive training wise at Malenko's, not just in, here's how you hit the ropes or here's the headlock. I got, down and dirty some that, hey, here's what you. This is how you learn. Here's your stances. Here's, get down here, shoot on his right leg, shoot on his left leg. Now, double leg, shoot, and here's what's going to happen. Oh, okay, don't shoot on that leg. He's feeding it to you for a reason, kid. He's keeping the other leg back for a reason. He wants you to fucking grab his leg so he can front face lock your ass and flatten you out on the mat. And you learn that, Yeah. So when it comes time to work with a fucking high school all-state wrestler, and then he goes to Arizona State and becomes an All-American wrestler and an alternate on the fucking Olympic team. You're wrestling one of those guys like a Dan Severn. You like, okay, we can pull this off because A, we're going to have a gentleman's agreement, thankfully, but more importantly, we can go. And like Severn told me, we can work a shoot or we can shoot a work, pal. Oh, exactly.
And and my choice is, hey, we're going to work.
Well, there was a reason that I'm sure that you guys kind of went, okay, we'll do this, we'll do some leg kicks, we'll feel each other out, and then you fucking suplex my ass across the ring and get the pin, or whatever it is. Yeah. It's just like, okay, we'll feel it out, and then you fucking just murder the guy, and okay, we're done.
Well, then you got those long ass matches. We're going to talk about one here in just a minute. Yep. That people don't want to see that anymore. 26 round matches. You know.
I think we kind of time out like 12 to 15. Like 15, I feel like would be a long match for today's audience.
Yeah. I think you're right, man. Yeah. Can you imagine the MMA, they go the top level for the UFC, you're looking at 5-minute rounds. Mm-hmm. So they're looking at 25 minutes at the max, with, a minute in between. So 30 minutes. And those fights, though, are usually so exciting, you can do that. Pro, I think, you're holding their attention 15 or 20 minutes, and that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I think if you get 20 these days without, just wearing your audience out.
Yeah, I'm not talking about him hawing around at the beginning and talking and using a microphone. I'm talking about getting in the ring and actually doing a match people would be into. You could really work it, and I think 20 minutes would be good.
Yeah.
To get.
Well, let's we can kind of continue that point as we go. Let's we are going to talk this week about 10 reasons we love and hate Ted DiBiase.
Yes. Ted DiBiase?
Oh, that guy.
Who said that?
That guy. I used to love that. Akbar would do that, just like mangle his name, just fuck it. You know?
Ted DiBiase, yeah. Okay. Well, real quickly, I'm going to give out our Twitter address. How's that?
Yes, that sounds good.
Okay. I can be found at Bobby Blaze 744 on Twitter. Jeremy can be found at The Geekish Cast, or you can join our tweet us at our joint account at Bell to Bell Blaze, and we also have a website at belltobellblaze.com. And I noticed you got a new shirt up there, or it's going to be up there, and I love that I said it out loud at a restaurant the other day. I said, look at this, Gary Hart will cut a bitch. And the person looked at my phone, kind of got it, but also looked at me like, you realize other people are sitting around us. And it's lunchtime, I'm like, oh, but you get it. But it's true. That's what I said. There's the heart, there's the razor. So we got that Gary Hart will, and there's a razor in the heart. I really like that. Son of a plumber, the American dream. Arm's favorite enhancement talent. The Pin Me Pay Me shirts, which mine came in. I'm very pleased with it. Very awesome shirt. And you get my books there. We'll talk about that later on. But anyway, visit our website, visit our store. Hopefully there's going to be some blogs up pretty soon. I'm working on one right now, and I know Jeremy's put some stuff up there. Appreciate that very much. But yeah, give us a visit, man, at the belltobellblaze.com.
Yeah, and also if you are a promoter or a wrestler who wants to send us like your press releases, send them on over.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
You know.
That's nice. I know. Hey, if anyone's listening from FTC or SW in this area, send us some press releases. I'll put them up, get them over to Jeremy or what have you.
Yeah, so absolutely. I'd love to be able to carry some of that info. I'd love to, for us to be able to try to help out with like a smaller fed, but also just kind of stay in the loop with what people are doing.
Yeah, and you don't have to be in my region to do that, or out in California or New York.
No.
If you got something legit with some talented people on it, and you want us to promote it, send it over there. We'll put it up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
More likely.
Probably tweet it out for you too, but
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we're going to talk a little bit about Ted DiBiase, who you can find on his own website at milliondollarman.com.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that in a bit here too.
Yes.
But I wanted to talk a little bit, we're going to start with number 10, his parents. Iron Mike DiBiase and Helen Hild were his, Iron Mike was his adopted father, but I'm not really going to distinguish for that because he took the last name his entire life. Yeah. Iron Mike, one of his most notable matches was a Texas death match against Dory Funk Sr., which went 1 hour, 44 minutes and a total of 16 falls before Funk was declared the winner. 16 falls, Bobby. Would you, hey,
man,
Bobby, I got an idea. How about you and Dan Severn for 2 hours? Most falls wins.
Yeah. I don't know about that. It'd be over pretty quick. I think I took in about a 15 or 20 minute time period when I did my program, Dirty Whiteboard, where he could beat me as many times as he could. All I had to do was pin him one time or make him submit. I think he beat me like 5 times, like every 3 minutes he was pinning me, but I had read about this in Terry Funk's book. And also, of course, we want to talk about DiBiase's book. So yeah, that's a mighty long time, man. An hour and 44 minutes.
Yeah.
16 falls. Woo.
Yeah.
Man. And I probably, what was it? Probably 4 men on the card, Two matches before that, mate.
Yeah, more than likely.
Maybe one match on the card. Maybe it's just one match, grudge match. Dory Funk Sr. versus, Mike DiBiase.
Yeah, well, you'd still need some kind of curtain jerker or something in there.
Yeah, something. I would think so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But then I guess Mike DiBiase had a match with Man Mountain Mike. and had a heart attack in the ring. Harley Race was there, performed CPR on him, and then rode with him to the hospital. DiBiase was pronounced dead at the hospital. Now, his mother was Helen Hild, who was very popular, also a wrestler in the 40s and 50s, had a title shot against Mildred Burke.
Yeah, wow. I didn't know she had a title shot.
Yep,
Cool.
she had at least one that I could find. Unfortunately, when her husband passed away, Bobby got involved in one of our favorite pastimes, abuse of alcohol. And it kind of just ruined her life after that, you know.
Yeah.
So it was a little hard, a little rough there. But he had a background in wrestling just by birthright alone, you know.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Absolutely.
But that'd be a hard way to get raised. Both your parents are pro wrestlers, and you're like, Mom, I got a stomach ache. Oh, shut up! I wrestled Tuesday night against Mildred Burke with diarrhea and shit my own pants. I was still in the ring for 45 minutes. You can go to school, Ted.
Well, if she's not already telling you to do that, wait till your dad gets home. He just wrestled an hour and 44 minutes against Dory Sr. Tell him you got a tummy ache. Now get up and go to school. Earache my eye.
I don't think you get many easy days that way.
That's right. Yeah. So number 9, West Texas State. There we go, man. DiBiase went to West Texas State, man. That's one of the all-time great colleges for the alumni for professional wrestling. And I know these are your words, and you can thank the professor for this week's notes. He done a terrific job as always. But the late Tex Johnson wrote us a West Texas bit for a series of documentaries or docs that we just never got to it. Jeremy started recording a couple times, I guess. It was very well written, and I know Jeremy, I think you played like 2 or 3 minutes for me at one time. I know we just haven't gotten to it, but it was very interesting because Tex went through all the talent. I don't think he missed anyone went to Texas State.
It was a very, very thorough. I mean,
yeah. That's something we may want to visit eventually.
Yeah, we probably should.
Because he had that one. He also had one, I think, about meeting Jody Hamilton, the assassin. I think he sent us a personal story about that. I may need to pull the audio up on that if it hasn't disappeared. But something he had sent us when we was doing Masked Men or something, and we just didn't use. But we might have to revisit those things in honor of Tex.
Yeah, I still have the script for that. And I was trying to go through and pull out some names, but it's 14 pages long. So
that's the reason to love DiBiase, though, not a reason to hate him. And that is because along with both Funk Brothers,
Bill
who
Watts,
else?
Nagurski, Nomalini. I think
name them all.
I think
Tully. Yes, Tully was quarterback there at one time. Yeah. Tito Santana went there. Yeah, Barry Windham. Tito. Yeah. A lot of guys went through there, man. Now Dick Murdoch. They say he played in the alumni football game several years, but many people claim that he wasn't a Marine and wasn't a graduate of West Texas State. He just showed up on campus. I don't know which is true. Not going to just say, but that also could be a famous alumni of West Texas State is Dirty Dick Murdoch. Manny Fernandez went there.
No, it's a hell of a list. Like Brody went there.
Brody.
Basically, if you were a super badass at some point, a real smash mouth badass, you probably went to West Texas State.
Yeah. And you probably played football or wrestled or did both. Mm-hmm. That's the reason. All right, so we'll go to number 8 then. Yep. The North American title and you got WWF Mid-South / UWF.
Yeah.
So you've got some stuff to add here, then I'll add my stuff here.
Yeah, so Ted DiBiase was a regular holder of the North American title, which was Mid-South's major title, okay? The WWF in 79 lured him up north with a quote-unquote North American title reign. It was a title they created for him. Now, one of the things I've always found interesting about that title is after he left, Pat Patterson got it. And then Pat Patterson unified it with the totally real and not at all fictitious South American title in a totally real tournament in Rio de Janeiro, creating the Intercontinental title.
Right. All right, that's an interesting fact for Pat Patterson. And here's an interesting fact for you. Mm-hmm. And I said I left Maryland, Baltimore in about 1969-ish. I had only watched the WWF on a big, floor panel TV. Jeremy, we checked these dates on the year 78, 79. In 1979, after my freshman year, I spent a few weeks, maybe even a month. I used to spend summers with different grandmothers. One had retired, moved back to Kentucky, but other one still lived in Maryland, in Baltimore. And the next time that I know that I saw WWF TV, Ted DiBiase was there, and he was doing a battle with handsome Jimmy Valiant was there still. So that was 1979, that summer. He was there in the WWF with that North American title. So that's hadn't seen it for like 10 years, but I'm, what is that now? Yeah. Grown up a little bit, I'm saying 15 years old, got to see, some WWF TV and something different in Memphis at that time for those. I was up there maybe a month or so, like I said. But DiBiase was there, and that's the first time I'd seen him too, probably. Although I didn't know at the time, I think him, a couple others were in Paradise Alley, but I didn't know, who was who in that other than Terry Funk and Sylvester Stallone, of course.
Right.
But so that title that he had, this is new. So Pat Patterson took it, and that's what he turned into the IC channel title.
Yep.
Man. South America, with that, where at? Brazil?
Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. He went down there and won that damn thing. That must have been a hell of a title.
Must have been.
Tournament.
Yeah. So, that must have been, because they basically said, he combined it with the South American to create the Intercontinental title. And that's interesting to me because I remember when I first started watching WWF, I was trying to figure out what the hell Intercontinental meant because I was like, isn't that the whole planet? Which it would be, except it was created to be North and South America. So it's just in between those continents. So that one I was like, aha, now I get it.
That's what happened to me too. Now I get it. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, you want to get something, you can get a book. You can get one of my books, and you can get them on Amazon. Or you can just use one of the professor's easier methods to get to my books, and that is, if you would like to get a copy of Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boost Will Travel, you can do so by going to tinyurl.com/blazebook1. The program does benefit a little bit from that. It's a small fee that Amazon kicks back to the affiliate account that Jeremy has. And if you love to get a new book for someone for the upcoming holidays, we'd love it if you went to Amazon and bought one. That's fine. But I really love it if you use the tinyurl.com/blazebook1 for Pin Me, Pay Me. My second book, I kicked out on two, The Education of a Wrestler. You can get that at tinyurl.com/blazebook2. It's that simple. It'll take you right to the site, and you can order your copy of either book or both books if you'd like. And we appreciate it very much, man. And while you're there, if you've read one of my books, leave a review. Just like we're asking you to in this program. If you like our program, go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, preferably Apple, or you can go to our website, like I said, belltobellblaze.com, and you can leave us a review there. We appreciate it very much, man. All we ask for are fair and honest reviews. You don't have to blow any smoke up our ass. You don't have to suck our dick. We're just saying, hey, we're here and we'd like to be rated. Give us a fair and honest rating. And hopefully you enjoyed the show, and thanks for tuning in. And, of course, buy a book. Buy a book.
Buy a book. Buy a T-shirt.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll come up
merchandise.
Merchandising. Yeah. So we're going to move on now to
number 7.
Number 7, which is the feud with Junkyard Dog. Now, they started off as friends and tag team partners, but they were both covetous of the North American title. So, eventually, JYD would take the title off of Bob Roop, who we have several stories about as well, in Shreveport, become champion, and because they still held stories logically in place, he had to inherit Bob Roop's title defenses, which meant he had a match coming up with DiBiase. So both men go in. You know what they had, Bobby, is they had a gentleman's agreement, right?
Yes.
Except that dastardly DiBiase pulled out a loaded glove, socked JYD in the head, got the pin, and took the title right off of him.
Yeah. Yep. So here's a couple things about that. I like that idea that since Roop had already had these title matches scheduled, and they keep with the program, instead of stopping your program and starting something completely new or over, it's a continuation that you have the champion schedule now. And then that sets up going against someone you consider a friend. Doesn't matter. Win or lose, you have to face your friend because that's who was on the schedule. I love that, man, the continuation of that. I wanted to give you a little back history real quick about the black glove in professional wrestling. And of course, they had, there were some, while DiBiase had that black glove, he did some black glove on a pole matches too. But the Blackjack Mulligan, when he was in a WWF, he wore, and I'm sure other people done this time, to kind of give brief history. He used it against like Bruno and Pedro and this cat and that cat. But in 71, he went to AWA and joined Jack Lanza, and they become the Blackjacks, had a pretty successful run. But 1982, where the angle is, DiBiase hurt his right hand. He had to wear the fingerless black glove. So, I don't understand where that comes. It's a fingerless black glove. It's supposed to be there to protect your hand. But that glove becomes almost infamous as Bob Orton Jr.'s cast that, did his arm ever get better? He was here this past summer. I didn't go down and see him. He was there with, I think, him and Tony Atlas. So, some gentleman in his 70s said, Bobby, if you go down there, ask him if his arm ever healed up, So, DiBiase at this point, though, against JYD, he had a reason to wear that glove, Jeremy. It wasn't just loaded, man. You know what I'm saying? He might have loaded it a little bit. What he put in there? Maybe a bar of soap or a brick. I don't know. Just saying. He had a hand injury. And like a good heel or like a good champion, he had to fucking use that glove to win against his. And of course, everyone knows from our program and Booking the Territory how over JYD was. So you just know instant heat how much of a heel that made DiBiase at that part, man, for that feud with JYD. How over he would have been. And I know some of our Mid-South listeners, they tell us a lot more detail. And some of them probably were there or have the magazine covers or the program covers from being there. So that's awesome, man. But anyway, that's just a little history of the glove. But Jeremy.
Yes.
Did you know for $65, okay, you can go and get a single black glove autographed at themillionman.com. If you want a single black fingerless glove autographed, just give them $65 and go to themillionman.com. What do you think about that, man?
Well, I want to clarify real quick. It's milliondollarman.com.
Okay, what did I say?
You said Million Man. But
okay, what is it? $1 Million Man. Okay.
$1 Million Man. Yeah, that's okay. That's
okay,
fine.
gotcha.
Bobby, right. I see you one glove and raise you one shoe.
No.
Autographed. The last
an autographed
bump.
shoe.
Yes, the last bump. Ring-worn shoe. $1,000. Let me read you the description now.
Please do. I thought I found a real gem in that glove, man. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
You did. I just happened to find one thing slightly better. These are the ring-worn shoes that Ted DiBiase had on when he was attacked by L.A. Knight on WWE NXT a few weeks ago. You only have 2 chances to own one of these shoes. Worn by Ted.
I get drink of water.
Yeah. $1,000, you don't even get a pair of shoes. You get a shoe. Worn by Ted DiBiase during what could have been the last bump he ever takes. Oh, they're not even going to certify that it's the last bump. It's the last bump he's taken so far.
Yeah.
With very little wing.
It's like a Terry Funk retirement thing.
Exactly. With very little ring-worn gear available from Ted, this is truly a rare offer. Please note this is for a single shoe.
Oh shit!
$1,000 for half a pair of shoes.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Oh,
shit!
Lordy.
Fingerless gloves, one shoe. I don't know. Hell, I don't know. You know what that sounds like to me?
What's that?
Number 6. It sounds like $1 million man problem.
No shit. Buy a pair of shoes for $40, sell each one for $1,000.
Exactly. So, of course, he played the very rich bully like Vince McMahon. That's basically Vince's character, right? It was based on him pretty much.
Look, I've heard Jim Cornette and others say that to Vince McMahon, the funniest thing in the world is him pushing you in the pool. You look at everything $1 Million Man did. Hey, dribble this basketball 100 times. I'll give you $10,000.
That was my favorite, man.
Yeah, I'll just kick the fucking thing away.
Kick it. Yeah. Oh man, that is good. Yeah, the $1 Million Man. That's number 6. Hell, that's what he's worldwide known as.
Mm-hmm.
Unreal.
Still working that gimmick today.
Yeah. He's got the $1 Million belt. Showcases it around the. Just. He went there and that gimmick just got fucking heat like so quick, man.
Yeah, it really did. Well, it's because, we all hate rich people. That's what it comes down to.
And I don't know if it was said on here or another podcast. I really can't see someone else doing that gimmick other than DiBiase. Now it's been done. But was someone else going to do that or not? Do you know?
Well, so there is a rumor that Gino Hernandez...
there we go.
Could have done it, but I think what probably happened was like this conversation. Somebody probably said like, "Hey, who else could have been the $1 Million Man?" And somebody's like, "Oh, fucking Gino could have done it." And it becomes, "Oh, Gino was almost the $1 Million Man," or Gino could,
right?
I think it kind of permutates a little bit. You know what it reminds me of is like, "Hey, Bobby, did you know that the NWA was going to give DiBiase a title run?"
Yeah, that's kind of what you're talking about. When I think it's hearsay, I know in Funk's book, and also I think it was in Ric Flair's book, both of them made reference to that time period around 78, 79, because he went from up to New York, like we talked about just briefly a second ago, then like back to Georgia, and then jumped, went right over to Mid-South and had his big run there. But during that time, there was talk, that it got to be talk. I don't know if it made it to the office talk, but a couple of the boys, namely that I've read, say, all it was Terry Funk said, I think I would have loved seeing Ted DiBiase get it run with that title, because I think he would have been a great NWA champion. And I'm pretty sure that's pretty much what Flair said. Like, there was other guys out there that they'd have liked this, who could have carried this title. And he mentioned that, DiBiase would have made a great NWA champion as well. But I don't think there was any discussion of, and if there was, hey, send us a tweet, let us know.
Yeah.
Just fill me in. But on both of those books, I think they pretty much was just saying their personal, hey, Jeremy, who I think would be a good NWA champion? And we're just locker room talk, or the guys talking, whatever. Ted would have made a great champion, or he will make a great champion. Maybe that can come up in discussion to where it's blown out to. Same thing with Gino. A couple of guys sitting around going, yeah, well, Gino would have made a great $1 Million Man. To now it's like, did you know Gino was going to be the $1 Million Man if Ted DiBiase didn't do it?
Yeah.
There's a difference there in the wording, So that's kind of what happened, I think.
And,
yeah,
and Ric Flair, I mean, for being such a braggadocious dude, he's kind of humble, and he'll be like, oh yeah, so-and-so, David Von Erich, Ted DiBiase, I'm sure he said, yeah, they were next in line, or they were going to get a title run.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So even Flair saying it doesn't necessarily mean it. I mean, David's dad was the president, I believe, at the time, so his chances go up quite a bit at the NWA. Did you know fucking Kerry carved his initials in the front plate of the NWA title?
No, I did not.
Did
he really?
Yeah, had the belt for all of like 6 days, and he fucking carved his initials in the fucking front plate.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
He really is. You know, I feel like fucking King Kong on that shit. But anyhow, yeah. It's funny. We should talk about
Go to
cocaine.
number 5.
Well, we're talking about cocaine and the $1 Million Man because that's what that habit costs.
Okay.
Yeah. Didn't read the fine print, Bobby. You know, did you know you can't buy the WWF title?
No, I didn't know that, man. I figured you had to win it, but I thought you could also buy it if you had $1 million.
You would think, but Ted DiBiase tried that. He got Andre to go beat the shit out of Hogan. And then gave Andre some scratch up front and then bought the title. And then I believe it was Jack Tunney said, no, you can't do that. And
can't buy it. Damn it.
Yeah. And
always that fine print.
Yeah. That fine print will always get you. And he couldn't win the tournament to get it either. So Ted DiBiase, being the resourceful young gentleman that he was, had this gaudy fucking bauble made up called the $1 Million Championship.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're just hinting to go back and revisit the Ugly Belts
we really
podcast
are.
again, I think. So yeah.
Could we come up with 10 new ones?
Probably. I don't know. I don't know. Hell, you're the belt guy. You know, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I bet we could.
I'm sure
bet we could.
Yeah. I've seen some doozies out there.
Okay. Well, this one here would have to make it because I don't think it was on our last list, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So we might have to add the $1 Million title in there since you're browbeating it so badly. So yeah, they still have that as a prop too. When he goes around, I'm pretty sure, like we mentioned, wait till we get to number 3 because I found out an interesting little fact. Okay, so, I will. Well, I'll jump to number 4 then.
Yeah.
The money man behind the NWO. Now this is something kind of new to me, and I'm not playing dumb, but I just for 3 months, then he was replaced by Bischoff. I remember him being there. I'll talk about that in just a minute. So he was going to be he was the money man behind the NWO.
He was the money guy, and he was like the mouthpiece for him. And then they, quote unquote, caught Bischoff being a double agent, and then Bischoff became the voice of the NWO.
Okay,
which put Ted in the background, and then further in the background, and then he turned face.
Okay. Yeah, I remember him being there, and I was traveling some then and wrestling quite a bit, and it seemed like I tuned in because I obviously was a fan too. I tuned in when Scott Hall showed up and Bischoff was there, and I guess they were the outsiders. So I may have missed, that it says for 3 months. I may have missed, an episode here or there.
Well, and you got to remember how quick shit was changing at this period too.
Yeah.
And that's why we were glued to our TVs during this period of time. It's like, oh fuck, what's going to happen this week? And if it was something small, well, we're going to miss it. If it's not Hulk Hogan turning on Mach in a match, we don't care. We're on to the next thing. Sting, there's 2 of you. All that stuff that's going. Oh my God, they just lawn darted Rey Mysterio Jr. into the production trailer. That's the stuff we were paying attention to.
Yeah. Because I didn't know that though.
Yeah.
Now, I forgot it or something.
It's not a high point, but it is something to pay attention to because they were calling him the trillionaire Ted, making a play off of back when Vince McMahon still pretended to think billionaires were a bad thing, before he became a billionaire. And so they were calling him trillionaire Ted and talking up his wealth and his power and this, that, and the other. It was just, again, I think that NWO era was the last one where we all kind of like sat back and, well, what's real and what's not here? I know it's all the work, but some of this shit looks pretty legit now. And, they're telling us there's a difference between what's in script and what's off script and, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So author of Every Man Has a Price, the true story of wrestling's $1 Million Man. So you can get that. I'm just going to throw this out there and have a story to it. So I've read the book. I've got an autographed copy of the book that Ted DiBiase gave me personally. You can get that at www.belltobellblaze.com/TedBook. We now have that up there on our website, courtesy of the professor and his genius in marketing. So, Every Man Has a Price, the true story of wrestling's $1 Million Man. I have a copy of that because, one, I was in, like I said, WCW at the time when he was there. And I went up there to EA Sports, and he was, this is the funny part, I guess, he was the technical advisor on that. That Bobby Eaton and myself, Lash LaRue, and Buddy Lee Parker were doing all the bumps for. And he showed up after about probably day 12 or 15, somewhere there, and stayed like 2 days. I think he sat over at a desk, watched us do our stuff, and said, well, I think you guys pretty much just got this under control, because this shows how much they knew in WCW what was actually happening back in fucking Atlanta, you know. Mm-hmm. We got these guys up there in Canada, in Vancouver, and, we better send a technical advisor up there. Well, we already had a list of shit we were supposed to do, and we were doing our jobs, being professionals. The other thing about that was they were going to send a luchador up there, and they sent Juan. Can't think of Juan's last name, but he was like one of the biggest fucking luchadors, like 6'2" and 250 or something. He wasn't one of the smaller guys. It was just a guy on contract. I can't remember. His name was Juan, because he didn't have to wear his mask up there. He stayed like 2 days, and we're like, we already pretty much got all luchador shit down, because Lash can do them and Bobby can catch them, or whatever. We had crash mats, so we had a stunt man that was like 130 pounds we could throw around, but they didn't know shit was going on up there. So when Ted got there, he pretty much came and stayed 2 days and was technical advisor. And one night on the way back from recording, doing the motion capture stuff, DiBiase gets us in a back limo and gives us all an autographed copy of his book and starts telling us his story. And, we're like, well, I hope we do stop at the liquor store on the way back to condos. That's not a problem. No, it's not a problem. So we did stop, not trying to be a smart ass, but that was our routine. And he didn't stop us. It wasn't like, oh, you're going to go to hell or anything like that. So that's cool. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But then he left for a couple days. But again, he's kind enough to give me the book. I did read it. Very honest in it. And that's his, he talks about everything he done, how he about screwed everything up and got it all back together and this and that. It's a pretty damn good book, I'm not going to lie. Then we didn't see Ted again. I don't know if he was supposed to be there the whole time or not, technical advising or whatever. I know he was over with the office people in Vancouver that was recording it or shooting it or whatever. But the next time we saw him was at the wrap party. We went to they had a real nice, we went out on the river, Jeremy, and ate a big fish house,
Oh, yeah.
You've been to Vancouver, so yes, you might even know the name of it, because I can't remember the name of it. At the end of town, where the water's at, there was a fish house. There's probably more than one, but it was really nice, and Ted showed up for that. And, of course, we thanked him. Everyone's very professional and stuff, but that was our action, unlimited action with, DiBiase being up there. Very nice guy, very professional guy, very courteous. Just saying, he just, I don't know. I don't know how he got credit for that. He was just there a couple of days because, we're the ones doing all the bumps, and we had a list to do 600 fucking moves on,
Yeah.
But, and he never yelled up there and said, hey, Bobby, do this, or hey, Lash, do that. He just sit over there and let us do our stuff, Yeah. But, anyway, go get the fucking book at belltobellblaze.com/Ted book and read it for yourself, man. It's a pretty good story. I admire anyone that puts their heart out there into a book and puts their life out there and lets people, see behind the curtain, so to say.
Right.
So
I have not read it. Ted DiBiase is actually one of those characters I probably don't know enough about, but I also, not to run off. I'm sure we have a lot of Southern listeners, so I'm sure we have many, many Christians who listen to the show, and it's not that I dislike or don't, whatever. It's just when I hear somebody's gone into the ministry, I just tend to go like, because I was raised around Catholics and not Protestants, so that's already a little like I don't get it,
Yeah.
So
no, he was very cool in limo. I'll say he rode with us. He didn't ride over with us either day, but he rode home with us back to the condo both days because he was the $1 Million Man, and he had to have his own condo or a condo limo one away. You know, one of those things. So and that's cool. You know, he had his own way there. That's per his arrangement. He wasn't, you know, part of the crew as far as what we were doing. We had a different time frame. But, you know, in the evenings back, like I said, the first night, like, hey, you know, our driver knew we stop at the liquor store, we get some beer, and we go shower.
What were the candy bars you guys got?
Yeah, he got the Wonder Bars. Bobby got the Wonder Bars, yeah. And everyone did their gimmick and, you know, showered, and then we'd meet down at the hotel, you know, restaurant. But anyway, so the second night, you know, he did present us off a book and his kindness and autographed it for us and shared his testimony with us. And it wasn't pushy. And it was, I don't feel there was any judgment when we said, hey, you know, we're stopping at the beer store regardless, you know. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't be a smart ass about it either. You know what I'm saying? Yep. If he'd have said, well, I'd rather you guys not do that, we probably would have said, okay, we'll get back out later. No worries, you know. Yeah, it was just easier. We found out after a couple of days it's easier that way than having to leave the hotel later in the evening, you know. And that's what our driver did for us. But no, Ted was very, very professional, very courteous. And I'm glad he wasn't pushy on that, you know, because that would have just rubbed everyone the wrong way, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Under the circumstances, you know. So,
then you got to be like, hey, Ted, you're going to have to get your own limo tomorrow. And next couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, like I said, I don't know why in the mornings he had a different schedule, but he'd show up those 2 days. And again, it could have been several other days that he was there, but I just know in the limo on a ride home, he rode with us a couple of days in a row in the limo while he was there. So, and sometimes your memory does slip. It's been a long time ago, just so you know. In case someone says, well, Bobby said you was there 2 days, and I was there 15. I don't think it was, but just saying, I'm throwing 2 out there. It might have been 3.
Yeah, well, the human memory sucks. I mean, that's really the thing.
Okay. Let's go to number 3.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's talk about his legacy a little bit here real quick. He's got 2 sons that were in the business, Ted Jr. and Mike DiBiase. Now, I missed all of, I guess, Ted, Randy Orton, and another third-generation wrestler. Cody. We're a team, but I missed all of that. So I don't know how much of a chip off the old block or apple falling from the tree Ted was.
Yeah.
But it's, it's cool to see when somebody's, third generation guys come in.
Third generation. That's right.
Yeah. Also the $1 Million Championship was brought out of ice. See, that's a diamond joke, Bobby. That's what I did there.
Okay.
Brought out of ice for a fella called the Ringmaster, who would eventually go on to be known as Chili McCool.
That's right. I remember.
Yeah. Or Stone Cold is the name I actually went with. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
And so they made him Ted DiBiase's personal champion until Ted jumped and went to manage the NWO for 3 months.
Right.
Ted Jr. would bring that back out of retirement again. L.A. Knight, the former Eli Drake, has recently was crowned the $1 Million Champion in NXT. He lost it to Cameron Grimes, but check this out, Bobby. It's an official title in NXT. It's not like It's not like some dopey third rung like the King or it used to be. It is actually an official title. And now the WWF has legitimately enough titles that everybody in the company can be a champion.
Okay. That's kind of like the fucking, everyone plays, you get a fucking trophy whether you play it or not. The non-participation fucking ribbon or whatever.
Participation trophy, yeah. Everybody gets a trophy.
Now everyone gets a belt.
Mm-hmm. Everybody gets a belt. Hey, that's okay, because you know what? I've learned that in America, you can lose an election and still become president. So...
Okay. Let's move on. Let's transition to behind the scene Raw here for number 2. I don't know if this is a reason. The legacy, whether you like it or whether you don't, you love him or hate him. Again, we're for top 10 reasons you love or hate Ted DiBiase. We're down to the final 2. Number 2, Jeremy, he didn't transition well to behind the scene Raw. Tell me about it.
So I found this quote, and I thought this was interesting. So when obviously they were trying not to use him on TV, and they're trying to get him to do stuff in the office, this, that, and the other. This quote I found, he says, that's not really me. I'm not Clint Eastwood. I'm not good on both sides of the camera. I'm good in front of it. And they wanted me to come back and at least try it. So I did it for about a year and a half. And I guess it took them that long to figure out I was right.
Well, see, you got a paycheck for a year and a half out of that gig, man.
No, but I think it's cool that he knew, he just, man, this just isn't for me. I'm a good talker. I'm a good wrestler. I'm a good manager. But, cameraman, pencil pusher, whatever other roles you want me holding. No, it's just not going to happen, guys.
Yeah. See, and I would think if he was like an agent, I would see him being a good agent, I would think. So obviously I'm not him. And he, like you said, he knows that's not his role. Mm-hmm. But I would think he would be because of the talent he had, dating from early on in his career all the way through the end of it. I would think he could give a good report on what those two did or that tag team did or what have you, and also be able to deliver, hey, here's the finish. This is the finish we're using tonight. Or, but apparently he knows himself and just didn't take well. Yeah. So, well, I respect that if he says that,
so do I. I think it's important to kind of catch that about yourself. Just I am in the wrong spot. Bobby, one of the things I've noticed, and you'll be able to comment more than me because I'm doing this obviously third hand, but I've noticed that everybody who seems to really excel behind the scenes writes down everything, everything everybody said, how many dollars came in that night, the size. Because look at JJ and Corny. Mm-hmm. And those guys, they can literally now, they can go to their notebooks, go right to a year and a day and a show, pull it out, tell you every conversation that they heard any part of, who was doing what, who went over, how big the crowd was, what everybody's payoff, everything. So everybody that I've heard about that really excelled behind the scenes is a just copious note taker.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's, they said Jericho apparently wrote down all of his matches every time. Mm-hmm. I've got a couple young people tell me they're doing that. I know Dean Malenko used to keep a notebook, and he had, he knew which town he'd done which finish in. That was way before he got WCW. Now, I don't know how long he did that, but he was obviously very good behind the scenes and still is, But, people, like you said, probably the best two examples would be JJ writing down everything fucking Dusty Rhodes, was saying, and also knew the houses and knew the crowds the same as Jim Cornette. That whole... Man, that date, 1986, and we had a draw against the Horsemen, and we drew this amount of house, and that was a time. We was in a limo, or something. Always something. They knew it. They wrote it down.
Yeah.
So that's a good observation, Professor. That's why you are the professor. So can't emphasize that enough. You're the brains behind the machine that's known as Bell to Bell with Bobby Blaze. Before we jump into number one, because I know you got all these titles, I'm going to give a quick plug out here real quick.
Yeah.
I've got an appearance coming up for Bluegrass Wrestling Con. That's going to be taking place on November 6th in Ashland, Kentucky. It's going to be at the Highlands Museum. I'm telling you, wrestling fans, I think we're going to draw a huge house on this. Big shout out to Time Warp. Earl, you're putting this together really, really well, my friend. Him and Joe from FTC Wrestling. It's November 6th. It's $25 entry fee. And I'm just going to name a few names that'll be there signing autographs. I will personally be there. I'll have books, T-shirts, 8x10s, and also you can get a selfie made. And I'm sure everyone else will have many more gimmicks for sale down there. It's the first time ever they're going to try to do this and really put this out there. Hopefully the next few years, hope this is first of many they put together. They put it between Lexicon and between WrestleCade. So if you can't make it to one of those events, Lexicon was last week. WrestleCade will be coming up for Thanksgiving. You got an option here to go November 6th to beautiful downtown Ashland. And you can see Lex Luger, The Godfather. I'm trying to see here. Say Coco Beware, Billy Gunn. Trying to save a couple. Gail Kim, Lex Luger, Magnum TA, and Stan the Man Hansen.
No shit.
Those
Magnum,
are all,
Magnum and Hansen, huh?
yes, they are going to be there. These are all confirmed through agents and also through Earl at the Time Warp. You can get your tickets right now at the Time Warp at the Ashland Town Center location. Tickets are on sale. You can if you don't purchase a ticket, they will send you an e-ticket. You can also buy those available at the data show. They'll scan your phone or what have you. However that shit works, Jeremy, you know what I'm saying?
I do.
But that stuff is all available now. It says there'll be local wrestlers as well. I know some up-and-coming stars, males and females, that'll be there, signing autographs, meet and greet kind of thing, and also helping each of the wrestling stars that are coming from out of town. They'll be helping their booths, tables and stuff. We're going to have 2 tables, Professor. Dig this. We've got 2 tables, the Bell to Bell Bobby Blaze table and the Bobby Blaze table. They're going to be sitting there, and the way they're going to be set up, we're hopefully going to pull this off. We're going to have my gimmicks on one table where you come over, meet, greet, self, autograph, sign autograph, selfies, etc. We're going to have time sometime during the day. We're going to have 2 computers set up, 2 headphones, 2 microphones, 2 turntables and a microphone, and Jeremy will be online out in California, and hopefully some of these people can come over, and I'm going to say, hey, Professor, I've got Lex Luger here, and he's wanting to be on a Bell to Bell, and you can interview him. Just I'll put it over. Cool. We're hoping to do that for one of our podcasts. If all goes well, we're trying to coordinate that right now. I just spoke with Earl the other day. And so we're going to either do it live or we're going to record it, and it'll be out like our normal podcast, man. And that's called Bluegrass Wrestling Con. Again, it's Nashville, Kentucky, the High Museum. I can't remember how big a space they got. It's going to be up on the 4th floor. If you go to the parking garage, you cross right over. It's a huge space. So really looking forward to this event, man. So anyway,
this
come to that.
This should be fun. I used to do a lot of, I would record. I didn't do it live, but I used to do a lot of recording.
That's probably what we'll have to do with this one. Unless something changed, we're probably recording.
Yeah, I would assume so, because it's just trying to do a live feed is just, I mean, we could do it over YouTube or Facebook, but then we got to jump through too many hoops.
Yeah.
But I used to love doing that because, like, a friend of mine, I have this one really gregarious, outgoing friend who would just get up and go to tables. Hey, what are you doing right now? Come do an interview. I don't give a fuck who you are. Get on over here. And so him doing that, he brings over a guy one time, and it's this guy who's doing his own comics, but he's also got his own clothing line, but he's also got his own podcast. And he is the lead songwriter, founder, and bassist for the band Tsunami Bomb, who was real big in the early 2000s in that pop punk scene. So he and I have kind of been friends ever since then. It's just a cool way to meet people and kind of organize. And then also, hopefully, if we land some of these interviews that we're hoping, or even just get a few minutes of, hey, come talk to us for a second.
Yes.
It'll be something fun for our listeners too,
We're hoping so. That's what our goal is. Okay, let's move on to number 1. I'm going to let you do this one. This is Ted DiBiase's titles. It's another reason just to love them. Man, and there's just a ton of them, so I'll let you go through them, and you can highlight the ones you want and read the ones you want, and then we'll get out of here.
Yep, and as usual, I don't grab them all. I just grab the ones that kind of catch my eye.
Yes.
In All Japan, he was the NWA United National Champion one time, the PWF World Tag Team Champion 2 times with Stan the Man Hansen.
Nice.
World Tag Team Champion once with Stan Hansen, and World's Strongest Tag Determination League with Stan Hansen.
Stan Hansen.
Yep. Georgia Championship Wrestling. He was the NWA National Heavyweight Champion, NWA National Tag Team Champion with Stan Frazier and Steve Olsonowski. I'm going to fuck that name up. Tri-State / Mid-South. He was the Mid-South North American Heavyweight Champion 4 times. The Mid-South Tag Team Champion 6 times with Orndorff.
Phew.
Oh, hold on. Was it once with... Oh, no. I'm sorry. One time with Orndorff.
I got you. Once with Orndorff, yeah.
One with Matt Bourne, one with Jerry Stubbs, one with Hercules Hernandez, and twice with Steve Williams. Boy, there's a handful of tag teams, but how about a DiBiase Steve Williams tag team?
Man, that's talented right there, man. Whew.
NWA North American Heavyweight Champion, the Tri-State version one time. NWA United States Tag Team Champion one time with Dirty Dick Murdoch.
Yes. All right.
And of course, he was the WWF's one or two North American champions, $1 Million champion.
Yeah.
I believe he is the second shortest world champion reign in the WWF, but they don't always get counted. Because it's whether or not he could, legally be called world champion by the way of purchase.
Right.
But Ted DiBiase, a guy I definitely need to learn more about. I know he's got a lot of really devoted fans out there.
Yes.
He seems to be very, very active still to this day, not just within the church community, but within the wrestling community as well. Bobby, you've met the guy. You seem to like him pretty well. He didn't try...
very likable guy.
Yeah, didn't try stealing money from any little kids when you met him, right?
No. And I'd dribble that basketball. I'd dribble circle around all them. I'd dribble circle around. They ain't kicking my basketball. I had a game at one day.
Yeah. They used to call Bobby Basketball Jones back in high school.
That's right, man.
He was always.
I used to sleep at home. I slept with that basketball. No wonder I couldn't sleep at night. And that's the second Cheech and Chong joke we got in there. If you didn't catch the earache, my eye earlier, wrestling fans. Damn, what we been listening to this week? I don't even know.
Know.
Jeremy, I got one thing else I want to plug real quickly, man. My man Sparks out there, Sparks Third Coast. It's 10-minute time limit. I've got some T-shirts there that has the character picture that's just dropping, long sleeves for the fall, and I've also got some Bobby the Kingslayer Blaze T-shirt to commemorate the me beating Jerry the King Lawler. You can get those at tinyurl.com/Blaze shirts. I just want to put that out there because it does offer a couple shirts that aren't available over on the Bell to Bell Blaze.com site. So, which we'll be moving some of those shirts back and forth. It just depends on how things go. But I did want to put that out there. I do have a couple different shirts, and I have to say they look really nice. I'm very happy with the quality of the T-shirts I've gotten. And again, I did get my Pin Me Pay Me shirt from our site. I mean, where else would I buy it, right? But
exactly.
I was very pleased with that too. I worked to the gym on Friday. Very happy with that shirt. So,
that's
I had a couple people tell me they purchased the Buttersoft. I don't think I did pay the additional money for the Buttersoft shirt.
Is that like a Butterface?
Yeah, maybe. But the shirt I received was very, very soft is what I was getting at. Yeah. So no butter faces. It was a butter soft shirt. I don't know. Butter shirt. Yeah. Anyway, give that a, go over there and visit the site and get a damn T-shirt or something.
Just go to the site, would you, people?
Yeah. Go to the site. Do yourself a favor. Buy yourself a Bobby the Kingslayer Blaze shirt or get one that has my character on it. And then also get the other site and get the damn Bell to Bell, Pin Me Pay Me T-shirt or Orange Favorite Enhancement Talent or Gary Hart will cut a bitch and don't say it out loud at a restaurant or people will look at you. But I did pop for that. I flashed my phone around and showed someone. Although they kind of popped, they was more concerned about, you realize you just yelled out bitch in this restaurant, don't you? But they just got more quiet than that. They just kind of said like, like look around and people's looking at you over saying bitch, and that's not the place to say bitch at.
No, you save that for church, right, Bobby?
Yes, I do.
Oh, man, my aunt and my grandmother wouldn't sit next to me in church. They were afraid of lightning bolts coming through the stained glass windows.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. That made the midnight mass before Christmas real hard to get through, really awkward. Yeah, I got everybody looking at me like if something goes wrong, we know it's you fucking heathen.
Man, and I have been to some midnight masses on Christmas Eve and stuff, man, just so you know. I mean, it doesn't make me a better or worse person for it. It was just, I was glad I went. Glad I went, man.
I'm getting ready to take a trip next spring, and it turns out that I'm going to be in Greece during Orthodox Easter.
Okay.
So I may very well go to Mass while I'm there, just so, because, amongst the Eastern Orthodox, they celebrate Easter like we do Christmas.
Man, you should. You're going to be there,
Yeah. So that's
a
one
unique experience.
That's what I was thinking. Cause I saw a lot of people were talking about canceling their trips. I'm like, no way. I want to see what this is like, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you should do that, man.
Yeah.
You should do that.
Well, Bobby.
Man, we need to get out of here.
Yeah, we've been here for a while now.
Yeah.
Had fun this episode. I think we're probably gonna do a few more biographies here coming up, unless we land some guests that we really want to get to.
Yeah.
But before we go, I know that you've been pitching pretty hard to get some people over on our friend Ron Fuller Take a Shot's YouTube page. You want to?
Yes. I'd like to plug that, man. If you haven't watched, go to Southeastern Rewind. Man, that's a hell of a YouTube channel. The last couple of Fridays, I'm telling you, I went back to 1978, 1988. I didn't this Friday watch anything except for promos, and also I went back and did a double take, the second watch of the Terry Gordy and Michael Hayes inside of a steel cage, man. But it is okay.
Yeah.
No, the one I'm looking at was actually the one where Hayes and Gordy fight inside a cage, Anyway, they're called sweet spots. That's what it was. Southeastern, they're called Southeastern sweet spots. And he's just going to do them like 10-minute segments of a sweet spot. Instead of watching the full podcast show, you can see just a spot on there. And that was the match that week. So anyway, good channel to go to. Please visit our good friend. Get ready to take a shot. Go to Ron Fuller's page, the Studcast Archives. The Tennessee Stud is Southeastern Rewind. Go sign up and subscribe and tell him I sent you without stumbling over my words. Daggone it. Sorry about my computer. That was my fault. I was going up and down, up and down, up and down, and it was going wrong.
Yeah,
That's why I hardly ever look anything up during a program, because I end up doing that. Anyway, I'm out of here, Jeremy. Peace out. Close us out, brother, please.
All right. Well, with that all said...
Jesus. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Hey, you know what? Sometimes we run long. It's just the way it goes sometimes. With that all being said, for the irreplaceable Tex Johnson, myself, Professor Jeremy Vilmur, and Arn Anderson's favorite enhancement talent, Double B Bobby Blaze. I can't remember how I sign off. Well, we'll see you around, guys.
Yeah.